Welcome to the 2021 UCI World Cup race that is Hulst. That's not in Hulst. For corona measures, it was just moved north, still in the same province of Zeeland. Don't worry though, we're in for a treat. It's still a really great course. Right now, I just went through the start-finish line and down the pavement and now up onto this sort of, it's kind of flat grass. Nice little slope here with a right-hand turn. Sort of an off camber, downhill, sweeping up and climb this little hill and then right hand turn. This went a lot faster in the race and it actually was a great place to keep speed and charge down into this mud pit. This mud pit right now is pretty wet, but I feel like it just got heavier as the race went on. Make a left under this flyover because what's a race in Belgium, or I guess we're not in Belgium, we're in the Netherlands. What's a race in Europe without a giant flyover? So this is, you see another mud bog up this climb here. I got a little bit advantageous in thinking I might be able to ride this. It was never a ride. It was always a walk or run for me, and I say walk because I was sad. I'm also wearing pseudo water repellent gloves because it's chilly and wet, and they're not good for clearing a lens. So this is a downhill adverse camber, and it's very slow because it's so wet. And again, we're in another heavy boggy section as we approach pit 1. And I saw a couple women, they ran from that first mud pit all the way through the mud pit, up the hill, across the camber, down the hill, through that mud pit, and then mounted here. I at least hopped on the bike and coasted across the camber and then kind of pedaled down the hill. And unfortunately, my pit lane was all the way at the back of the pits, so it was not fun to pit because you would run through the mud, mount your bike, ride through the pit, dismount, take a bike, and then take this cool sweeping left-hand turn that actually had a nice sort of berm on the outside. So I was being a bit too slow in the first lap or two before I realized, hey, there's a really cool berm, so I don't need to check my speed too much. Just a flat, grassy section as we turn that 180 back on the pit, right-hand turn, and up a little two-tiered climb. I say two-tier because we're up, flat across the road, pump up again. This was never too good, or never too difficult to ride. Here Matthew Vanderpoel made it essentially a flat piece of land, but when does he not do that? So just continue a little transition over the pavement. Transition was not as bad further to the left. And then we hit the barrier section. This is me hopping them. Totally, right? So mount, staying flat, and we're gonna swoop left. And this is a good part of the course to attack. So the ground, it must drain really well. It rained a lot earlier, about a week ago. There was a lot of rain, as you can tell from my muddy pre-rides in the past. But this must drain well because the course stayed really nice up here. Pump through a little ditch, hook right, and then we're going to drop down and across a camber. I liked hitting low and then keeping momentum in race pace. You kept more momentum and didn't really need to work to climb that hill rather than choking up speed and keeping the turn really tight on the right to stay high. I don't mind going low if it's going to be easy to get back high, right? Girl can't turn. Gotta do what I gotta do. So now it's a little bit flat here. Really windy though. Wind coming from rider right / a headwind. But we're going to make a sweeping downhill here and then a left-hand turn. And in pre-ride I never trusted this turn enough, but it turns out the traction was really nice and it was pretty easy to pump over that pyramidal structure. I said this yesterday for our pre-ride and I can't even remember it. Now an right-hand turn off camber, pretty greasy. So I liked to just hang it wide and kind of get on the pedals before the bike even straightened out so I could keep a little bit of momentum across the camber. Left-hand turn, little slight chicane to the right, and this was all downhill. And I found you didn't need to touch the brakes at all for this whole entire section as long as you didn't look at the fence. Never look at the poles, my friends. Never look at the poles. Now here, Belgians like their up-de-doos, and so the Netherlands was like, we see your up-de-doos, Belgians. We raise you one seawall, ? So we go up and down this structure a few times. It's definitely a lot larger than the traditional up-de-doos that we've been seeing in Belgium, but it made for a really fun course. So the ride, or the run right there, never able to ride that hill. And then at the top, it was another, kind of sharp pyramidal top. So you had to kind of swing your leg over pretty fast and take that descent. And this was like riding a half pipe, to come down there, come up, hook that right, go back down, carry your momentum up here, across the left, go back down again, pedalable, pedal, and then it wasn't much work at race pace to get back up this. And now we're going to be going downhill, sweeping right, and maybe this was a climb, maybe it was flat. I don't really know. Sometimes I think MC Escher actually has a part in designing cyclocross courses, because you can think that something is uphill or downhill, but then it's not, and it's very confusing. So now we're going to be sweeping left, a little rut formed here for riding across/down this little camber, and just follow the fence line, sweeping to the right until it flattens out. Again, pretty big headwind. You can see the flags moving, but I was never really with anyone to take advantage of drafting or anything. But don't be alarmed. I may have provided draft myself. You won't be surprised if you actually know me. So now, after this right-hand turn, the entrance up here is going to be to pit 2, and I'm pitting right now just to tell my mechanic what's up with my gearing. Told him I was going to keep a 40-tooth chainring in the front with my 1140 cassette in the back. A little mud on the exit of the pit there, but rut formed, and let me just say, I finally rode a rut real proper, and I think I accelerated through the turn and made a pass in the race. No big deal. So the ground down here in this flat area, a lot heavier than it is up top when I was saying that the ground drains well. Because, again, it's a pretty diverse course. Pretty chunky here, a lot of pedaling, a lot of ruts forming. And now we get to go up the flyover that we went under in the beginning of the lap. Some nice stairs here, but luckily they're covered in carpet, so if you fall, you don't cut your leg, as what happened to me in Worlds last year. Short remount, nice gradual slope. This is a proper slope for a descent ramp, by the way. Take note, Belgian C2 races. So you have some speed to carry you through that mud puddle, and then you go up this pretty greasy climb. By the end of my race, I wasn't able to make the climb because it was getting a little bit chewed up, and I was getting a little bit chewed up and spit out. You're going to have to watch my vlog for the full story on my race. I'm post-race right now and pretty bitter about it. I don't really want to talk about it. But now we're going to play on this Dutch up-de-doo a little bit more. We're going to go down and take a sweeping right-hand turn to climb back up. So, of course, we want to keep momentum. I'm trying to keep it wide to keep as much momentum as I can. And charging up this guy. Really happy I have that big gear range in the back as I go past Sydney, who had recently dislocated her shoulder but decided to race anyways because she's a trooper. So riding the top of this, I don't know, seawall? Dike, natural hump in the ground, because Holland is known for its vast elevation changes. So sorry it's a bit foggy here, but we're going down a little descent to make another turn to climb back up the old whoop-de-doo. I don't know what Asa Abloy is either. So this turn, again, a little bit slick, and towards the end of the race got a little bit owie. The women got over a 50-minute race during this edition of the World Cup, so I think the leaders came in at 53, which means I came in just under an hour, so I'm waiting for my balls to drop. Anytime now, I can be considered one of the big boys. So this is a ridgeline that's some ocean to our right, but you can't see it because I got some foggy lens. And to the left, which you can't see, it's going to be a drop, and that is the paved start-finish straight. And again, this section, much faster in the race, despite it being a headwind. But heaven forbid I go fast now. Just have to fill it with talking. So this was nice, fun little camber to cross and then turn, and rode it pretty cleanly there. It got a little bit slick in the race, but the line held true. Here's a little off-camber descent. you gotta find your rut, but it was a nice smooth transition onto that pavement. And then this section was just ripping fast in the race. So you see going back through the start grid, through the start line, there's the finish line coming at you. But I'm gonna keep this rolling a little bit longer because though I'm not doing this at race pace yet, just the flow of this section right here, I just really enjoyed. I should find my Strava part of doing this and just see if I got faster lap to lap, because I think I really found some flow. I made some passes here. I was proud of myself. Anywho, that's the lap here in Zeeland, not Hulst, and thanks for watching. Hope it gives you a little bit of perspective once you go back and watch the race. Who knows if we're ever going to race here again? This may have been a one and done. We'll see if the venue keeps on the calendar for the future years. Anyways, I have a little bit of time off before I race again, so I guess you'll have to watch this pre-ride a couple times to get your fix, people.